Welcome to the Ty and Rye the Finance Guys podcast, covering weekly investment news, important financial topics, and expert interviews. We want to help you become more knowledgeable about the financial world around you. This is not an offer to sell you anything, and remember, past performance doesn't indicate future results. Now your hosts, Ty Hansen and Ryan Robertson.
Welcome, everybody.
We are here.
New one. It's a new podcast. It's a new day.
It is a new day.
You gotta love new days, because some days need to end. And you need
Some
a new day.
days do need to end. Yes.
This is one of those days. We got a new day.
We're recording. We're here. We're happy. We're rolling.
Ready to go. Sometimes the
Let's do
technology doesn't help you out very much.
This is a fun one, too. I'm excited.
So, yeah, this is going to all be for self-directed accounts, retirement accounts. We're going to talk about everything. Now, just keep in mind, we have two parts to this.
Yeah.
Because it's so great, we could only fit it into two. We couldn't do it all on one.
Right.
Yep.
We don't want people stuck here for 3 hours on
That's
one
right.
podcast.
And the second one's going to talk about some really awesome tools that you've probably never heard of. And it's going to introduce some tax-saving type strategies and actually tools that you can use with your retirement accounts that are just going to be like amazing. So you got to stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And the thing that's cool about it is you guys always make fun of me and I geek out a little bit, but we've literally, it's almost 20 years in the making that we've built
20?
this tool out. Almost 20.
Yeah.
A long time. To where we've built this tool that gives opportunities in a way that I really don't think it exists on any other financial platform anywhere. It's a crazy powerful tool.
If it was.
I would too, because nobody's a glutton for punishment like we are.
Nope, nobody is.
No.
So
that's part two.
But part one's still good. Like, don't skip that. You can't skip this when you get to part two.
Like, let me ask you, Ryan. Who is your second son your favorite son or your first son your favorite son? Like, I mean, they're both favorite, right?
Of course, I like both of them the same.
Yes. So that's like these podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and also, imagine watching Empire Strikes Back, and you've never seen Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Makes zero sense.
Yeah, you'd be wondering what
what is this big furball walking around? Who's that?
Why exactly, right? Why does he keep growling?
Mm-hmm.
Who are these random robots that go beat?
Right.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Okay, so you got to watch this episode and then go to episode 2.
Episode 2. Yep, love it.
So this episode, we're going to talk and really break down some of the basics. When we start talking about retirement accounts, we're going to start defining terms.
Right.
What are the terms? Right. What do they mean? So first distinction that we have to make is the difference between qualified money and non-qualified money. You'll hear us talk about that a lot. So just know when we say qualified money, we mean any money that is inside of a retirement account from IRA, 401k, 457,
403B,
443B, 401A. That's something, right?
SEP, simple.
SEP, simple. Yeah. That's qualified, and then everything else is non-qualified.
Right.
Okay.
Like, so if you and your wife have a joint savings account, a joint brokerage account, if you own property together, those are taxable accounts.
Yeah, and they're qualified because they qualify for special tax treatment.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that's the first one. Now,
qualified, non-qualified. Gotcha.
In the qualified quadrant, there's now two more categories.
In this vector right here.
Yes. Okay, we're moving down this side. You can see me do this to this side. This is qualified. Yeah. There's Roth and traditional. Right? Roth, named after Betsy Roth. Right?
Betsy Roth.
She invented the Roth IRA.
No, she did not.
Oh, she didn't?
Betsy Roth. Oh, okay. Hold on. No, let's come back. Not Betsy Roth. Okay.
Oh, that's what I thought she was famous for.
No.
Betsy Roth. Let's name it a Roth IRA after Betsy Roth.
What is Betsy Roth famous for? Did she write a song or sell a flag?
Flag.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if she wrote
a song. I couldn't remember if she wrote the song or stitched the flag. Okay. No, not Roth. ROTH, not ROSS.
Oh,
Roth.
gotcha.
Okay, so think about it this way. Ryan is the Roth, Ty is the traditional, right?
Here we go.
Okay. So there's a difference. Do you mind if I, because if you're talking about Betsy Roth, I think I'm going to jump in and be the one to explain this difference. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Ryan Roth, Ty traditional. So traditional, and it can be with any of the retirement accounts, it can, well, I shouldn't say that. Not all of them have Roth options, but for the most part, it's like you can have a Roth or a traditional type of the retirement account. Like a 401k can have a Roth or a traditional. The IRA has a traditional and Roth. Some don't, like a SEP doesn't. But anyways, my point is, Roth and traditional, the main difference is the tax savings, right? Meaning Ty traditional, my traditional account it saves me taxes today because it reduces my taxable income today.
Yeah.
So let's say I make $5,000. If I make $5,000 and I have a traditional account, 401k, IRA, whatever, before I pay the government taxes on my $5,000, I carve off the $500 that I'm going to contribute. So now my taxable income is $4,500, not $5,000. Okay, so that's pre-tax. It's also called tax deferred, right? Traditional. That's my traditional
tax
account.
deduction.
Right, deferred tax deduction. Right. So Ryan's Roth. So same thing. Ryan makes $6,000 because Ryan's more efficient. He gets paid more because he's better than I am at these things. Yep. So Ryan makes $6,000, but Ryan wants to do a Roth contribution. As far as the IRS is concerned, Ryan gets taxed on all $6,000 first, pays his taxes, then he takes what's left over and takes $500 out of his account, puts it into his Roth. So it's after tax. The difference is, both of our monies grow without any taxation along the way for the next 25 years. On the back end, when we start to pull money back out into the real world for real use, mine was tax deferred, so I pay taxes on my $500 that's now grown to whatever dollar amount in year 25. Ryan, since he already paid the piper, pays zero taxes when he's done.
Yes.
So traditional is tax deferred. I get the tax savings and deductions today. Ryan's Roth, no tax deductions today, but it grows tax-free, and then when he's done, when he pulls money out, nothing on the back end.
Yeah.
There we go.
All about
Simple
how
enough.
each of them is taxed
Yep.
and contributed.
Yep.
So those two counts.
So really fast, too. So some will say, oh, this one's better than the other. There definitely are benefits of one and the other. And depending on the tax season and where you think taxes are going, you can make an argument for either or.
Yeah.
To be frank, what I really love is when I get to work with somebody who's, in their, 50s, 60s, we don't want to have all dollars in the traditional because then it's, all the dollars we pull out, we have to account for taxation. If you've got a good, healthy mix of Roth dollars or tax-free dollars, traditional dollars or tax-deferred dollars, and individual or taxable, right? Those are taxable in the actual event. If you've got a good, healthy mix of all of those types of taxation dollars, there's a lot of really cool things we can do from a strategic standpoint. So there's strategies that relate to both Roth and traditional. Some are better than others, but just keep in mind, it's like if somebody's saying, oh, just do all one or all the other, it's like, it's a lot more. We're talking about the IRS here, right, people? That's the whole point of what Ryan and I are trying to do, is help you mitigate, stay away from the IRS. Like, I'm pushing them away as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And so having a good, healthy mix helps us do that a lot easier.
Yep. Healthy mix.
Healthy mix.
Now.
Not Betsy Roth.
That's right. Now. You like that. Now.
I did. I liked that a lot.
We're going to split that up now. Okay. We've come down from qualified. Now we've got split that up to the Roth and the traditional. We're working on our tree. Now, the other part of this to keep in mind is that all retirement accounts, Roth and traditional, have to have custodians who are essentially the custodian or trustee or operator of the actual account. Right? They're making sure that you are playing with the IRA appropriately and investing it appropriately. Now, there are two kinds of custodians as well, and each custodian really kind of fits into one or the other. So, first one, we just call it. This is our name for it.
Yeah, this is
nothing official.
It's kind of like Betsy Roth.
This is like the Betsy Roth the Roth IRA is first type is conventional. So conventional is what we normally think about with companies like Fidelity and Merrill Lynch. They are allowing you to invest into stocks and bonds, these kinds of names.
I want to jump in there because the world of investing is really open to anybody, but it's what the custodian, like, they still have a choice, right? They can still choose what they want to allow on their platform for you to invest in. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like people that want to buy Bitcoin, you can't buy it on Fidelity, but you can buy it on Robinhood. Mm-hmm. Now, Robinhood's different because they don't do any qualified accounts. They don't deal anything in what we're talking about. Now that may change, but for right now they don't. So Fidelity does, and you're right. So, but typically it's very common for the way they make their money: stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
Well, and that's important. That's a business model that they have chosen.
Yes.
They've chosen to do it this way because that's how they can basically make their money and fees and how they sell products and things like that. So
and think about how easy it is to use, like, if you want to trade on E-Trade, or you know what I'm saying. It's like, it's easy. They get that. They're like, okay, people just want to buy and sell a stock. They want to buy and sell a Tesla. Okay, we'll make it easy for them. So exactly.
So conventional is one way. If you've got an IRA, you're going to have your IRA at either a conventional custodian like that, or you'll have your IRA at a self-directed custodian. So self-directed, as it states in the name, is you are basically now more free to invest into different kinds of assets that the conventional custodian doesn't allow. So we're talking like real estate or private companies or private partnerships, right?
Tax liens, hard money lender.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have a client who is a passive investor in a board game company. Like, his self-directed IRA owns a board game company. Like, he is like a minority owner in that.
Is board spelled BORED or board?
However you spell board games. I can't. It's based on like a board, BOARD. I think like board.
I'm just saying because that sounds boring.
Boring. Yeah. He doesn't care. He's made a crap ton of money with it, so he's happy. So okay.
That's not
so the self-directed world. The self-directed world. If you went to Fidelity and said, "Hey, Fidelity, I've got $200,000 with you. I want to take, $50,000." In fact, you know what? Okay, here's what it reminds me of. Do you remember the movie Hitch? Did you ever see the movie Hitch?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. Kevin James. Okay. Will Smith, right? Mm-hmm.
Very good movie. The Love Doctor, right? Will Smith, very smooth man, right? I love the dancing scene in that one, where he's like, "Nope, this is your happy place, right? This is your happy place."
I've never seen
it. Thing. You haven't?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good movie.
No.
You really haven't seen the movie? You got to go see the movie. No. Okay. In that movie, there's this fictional character. I don't know who the actress is that plays her, but she's really pretty. Anyways, and she's this model, and she has all this money, and she comes into this boardroom with like 10 men in, 3-piece suits and just like, all buttoned up and like Wall Streety and this and that. And they're like, she's like, I've got a friend who I want to invest in their business. This is rad. And they're all like, no, can't do that. We don't recommend that. That's kind of the old school conventional way, right? Yeah. And not that it's bad, but that's not in their wheelhouse. And then in the movie, Kevin James wants to make a scene because he really likes the girl and he wants her to remember him. And he's like, slams the table and he's like, you should be able to do whatever you want with your money. It's your money, right? So, and that's kind of like what the self-directed world allows is, you want to invest in your friend's business. Now there's some fine nuances there. We won't get into it on this podcast, but anyway. So so you know what it's like, Ryan?
I love this. You got an analogy?
Am I too early to jump into this analogy?
I love this analogy. Give it to me.
Okay, so the custodial world of like the Fidelities and Schwabs, that's everybody understands that's mainstream. The self-directed world is a little bit like the Wild West.
Ooh.
Right? It's a little
nice
in that the rules are there, but it's like how
you're gonna have to fend for yourself.
It's different.
The laws exist.
It really is.
But you're kind of on your own.
If you take your boat out past the buoys and you're in international waters, things are totally different.
Wait.
No, wait. Now we went
What
to maritime.
analogy
Let's come
is
back to
that?
Wild West. Let's go back to Wild West. Like the laws, I guess, are different out to sea.
Maybe.
I don't,
Or
too
the waters are
too many
rough.
analogies at once.
So the conventional custodian is corralled cattle.
Yes.
And
then
the wild and
yes.
the self-directed custodian is free range cattle.
Free range beef. Yes, exactly. Now I
be wild
will
animals
jump in and say
that'll attack you.
there are coyotes. There could be coyotes out there,
Yeah.
or you might get shot.
Yeah.
You know what we forgot that I should have brought in? Like, I need my cowboy hat. 'Cause there's a new sheriff in town. So conventional, fidelity, self-directed. Again, they're actually fundamentally the exact same things.
Yes.
But the real world functionality. So fundamentally, they're the same. The functionality, and I'm actually going to take a step back, because no matter what, when you have qualified dollars, right here, I'm going to go back up Ryan's little ladder here where we were coming down. Remember, these are qualified tax-saved dollars, right? The IRS requires some involvement, right? There needs to be some reporting and understanding. So there's a lot of red tape around these kinds of accounts. That's why Robinhood doesn't do these.
Yeah, they got to keep track of what's going
Robinhood
on.
doesn't. Yeah, Robinhood doesn't want to.
Yeah, right.
So because these are all being watched and managed, that's where these custodians are so important. And then again, coming back down, fundamentally the same, functionally very, very, very different. So
yeah, the way they function. And so here's sort of now the issue that we want to get to, which is here are the problems that each of those custodians, or I should say the problems that you as an IRA owner will face with each of them. Okay, because now we want to come around at the very end and start to provide some solutions to that. So there's basically three big problems with each of them. So here are the problems with the conventional, and Ty, you tell me which ones you want to fill in for. So one problem is for conventional custodians, you're limited to basically stocks and bonds. Now, maybe a little bit wider than that, mutual funds, REITs, publicly traded REITs, right? You can do, you can probably get your account set up to maybe you can do an option type trading platform. Right. But I mean, you are limited to really the public markets.
Right.
With a conventional.
Or even, you may be able to do some private placements, but again, there's accreditation rules.
I can't imagine. Does
but
Fidelity
it's
really
only
let you do that?
Yeah,
like
I
a
think
Reg
so.
D private.
Yes, so there's some like Reg A's that you can.
Reg A's
but
make sense.
But what has to happen is not like Bob Marley Reg A, but Regulation A, not Reg A.
Oh, Reg A. Okay, that was
not
I got you.
No, you see where I'm going. That was
went right over
your
my head.
jokes are way better than mine. I've been a dad for too long, so my jokes are dad jokes. Okay, so it depends though. Like if the company that's issuing the fund, the Reg A type fund or Reg D fund, they would have to have an agreement in place with Fidelity. Not all custodians carry that. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But there is just this limitation to where your money can really go. So there's really no self-direction like buying real estate on that.
Right.
And or, a real private business, your buddy's starting a company and they need some seed capital to get the company going. There's just no option for you to do that like your friend's board game company.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
BOARD. Mm-hmm. So if you went to Fidelity today and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy some real estate."
Yeah.
They would look at you kind of funny and say, "What?" The other thing I want to distinguish here too is between this is that there's a lot of conventional custodians, as we're referring to them, right? That will say, "Oh yeah, we've got self-directed IRAs." Oh yeah. You can get a self-directed.
They do say that. They'll say that every time.
Okay. But what they mean is that you can self-manage your stocks and bonds.
Yeah.
That's what they mean. Because the whole key is understanding why each particular business model does and does not work for what you, the investor, want to actually do.
Yeah.
We're kind of like Kevin James in that we want to give you the opportunity. We're willing to pound on the table in the room of boring Wall Street people and say, no, we believe in John Doe and his decision to invest in a board game, or Sally Mae and her wanting to buy a piece of real estate.
Sally Mae.
Okay. So the idea here is that they're going to, if they say self-directed, what I mean with that too is that they're going to be like, yeah, you can buy your stocks and bonds on your own. Yeah. That's you're self-directing which you're buying. It's like, yeah, that's true, but you're not actually being able, because they're not going to support that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They play in the corral. You can do what's in the corral. You can invest whatever's in that little
absolutely
playground.
Absolutely.
So that's the limitations there. Now move to a true self-directed custodian, a company who now opens up the corral. Now you're really out on the range. Their limitations then end up being is that you can't go back into the corral. How do you get back in to invest directly into stocks and bonds if you wanted to? Right. There's really no easy way to do that.
Yeah. Yep. And you bring up a great point, because I was talking with somebody, with one of our clients the other day, who had listened to this real estate seminar, and they had one of these self-directed custodians on, and they were kind of like pounding their chest about the fact that they have $400 million sitting in cash in their custodial platform. Like that was a badge of honor. Yeah. And it's like that $400 million is literally doing nothing.
Yeah, so you're bragging that your investors actually don't have a place for that money to go. Okay.
Yeah, you're bragging that people aren't even keeping up with inflation.
Yeah, perfect.
Which is a big. In fact, anybody thinking about self-directing, again, just understand that is a problem in the self-directed world. Now, obviously, you and I are a little biased, and we've got a really good solution for it. But
we're going to get to that.
Everywhere else, again, because think about their business model. The business models are very different. Fidelity likes the idea of buying and selling stocks. They make money when stocks are bought and sold. A self-directed custodian, they don't buy and sell stocks. They don't make any money that way. And so if your money's sitting with them doing nothing, they don't care. They're still going to be making their money.
They charge their fees based upon what you just got on deposit, really, what you rolled over.
And transactions.
And transactions that you engage in.
Yep.
So now what we're talking about is we've got two different worlds that these custodians operate in, and they are good for each one depending on what it is that you want. But here's now the problem, right? The problem is, what if you want both? How easy is it then to set up both, and then more importantly, move money in between them? How long does it take on average to move money between one of the custodians to another one?
Right.
Self-directed to a convention.
Well, and here's the other thing. You bring up a really good point, because, where the Fidelities of the world have kind of been in the same system, it's like, hey, we know our lane. We're going to stay in our lane. We're not going to give clients anything else. It's not because they're jerks. It's just they know what their role is. And now, so in the same vein, the self-directed world, they know their role too. Now, again, they're the same fundamentally as far as like what the IRS considers them for their purpose, but in functionality they're so different. They do not play well with each other.
They're like cats and dogs. They're like water,
and not
water
the kinds that cuddle that
oil.
I see on TikTok. Oil and water, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't play. It's like it's like two of my daughters trying to share the same bathroom. That doesn't work.
It does not.
And I'm not. I hopefully that doesn't come across sexist. I'm just telling you it doesn't work well. So they do not play well with each other, because again, their business models are at odds with each other, right?
And
the Fidelity doesn't.
They don't want to move money fast between them. That's the other part of it.
No, Fidelity doesn't want to take money off of their platform and kick it to some rando self-directed custodian, because think about that. If we can wait an extra 1 to 2 weeks to give you your money, and we're talking billions and billions of dollars, how much do you think Fidelity's making on those billions and billions of dollars? And vice versa, if this self-directed company I was talking about that was kind of pounding their chest about $400 million, if they leave that sitting there and they make it really hard for you to use and a lot of red tape, yeah, they're making money on that deposit too. So that's the whole point. They do not play with it. So yes, in fact, hold on. I want to finish this thought because I'm going to go off a little bit for a second because Ryan and I have been in this world for a long time and we've married these two and we're going to get into this in just a second.
Give them the secret yet.
I know, but I'm not. But what I want people to understand is, believe me when I tell you, if you want to try and marry these two on your own or build these two, like I've got clients I've talked to where it takes months to go from Fidelity, again, a very sophisticated platform, to their self-directed custodian or back. It takes months. And if you're looking to buy a property right now in this market today, you wanted to buy property, can you wait 2 months to get a deal?
Well, more than that, who is helping you do it? Is anybody interested
Let's go that way.
in helping you do it? Is your advisor at Fidelity interested in helping you move money? Is the custodian at the self-directed part, is that customer service person interested in helping you move money?
Well,
nobody wants to help
you. Do bring up a good point. You bring up a good point because I want to clarify that too. In the self-directed world, they are not advisors. They're not allowed to advise. They are not fiduciaries. They are not regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission as advisors. In fact, again, you put $100,000 with a self-directed platform and you say, hey, I've got some questions about this property. Yeah, no, they'll say, okay, yeah, this is how you transfer your money. But if you say, well, but I don't, I had some questions. I don't know, like, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? I can't help you. That is going to be your answer every time, is they are not going to help you at all. They're not going to help you.
They've perfectly walled off their business model so that they make it difficult and or deter you, the IRA owner, from choosing to move away from them, right, at both sides.
You're talking about
custodians have created, whether it's conventional or not, they've just created it to where they're like, we want to keep you here, and we want to keep you on our platform because we need to make money from you. They're not interested in the back and forth kind of process.
And I will say that it's in my opinion, it's not malicious. I don't think they're doing this to like just be jerks, right? They're not like the IRS or something like that where they're like just trying to screw you over. They're not efficient, and they're definitely trying to keep their bottom line as high as they can. But I don't think it's malicious with intent. I really truly believe it's like, look, like there are good intentions, but like to be kind of go above and beyond, it doesn't really make financial sense to these companies.
Yeah, that's more of what it is. Like, it doesn't make sense for them to try to be flexible and helpful on anything that doesn't add to their bottom line. And, they train their staff for that. Now, here we go.
Now,
solution to this. Do you like the term that I put on there for the system? The Minotaur. Yeah. Going back to Greek and Roman mythology.
Greek mythology.
A man body and a bull head.
As long as it's not Betsy Roth.
So here's now this is when I first met you, right? You were, this was 3+ years ago. You were trying to put together this very thing. You were basically working on making this. And when I first saw it, immediately I went, oh, this is awesome. This is amazing. Like every single person who has an IRA should have this. Whether you want to do real estate
or 401k.
It doesn't matter. Everybody should have access to this because this is exactly what every person needs, truly, that has a retirement account. So what we've done, right? Maybe I should let Ty do this because this is really Ty's baby.
No, you're okay. I'll jump in
This
when I
is
need
Ty's
to.
baby.
You're making me. I'm blushing a little bit. I
Ty
appreciate it.
is really the nerdy professor that has taken antimatter and matter and fused them together. Because basically, this hybrid Minotaur system We'll get that as we'll put that Minotaur as a
this freak of nature.
Yes. Basically, it is setting up a conventional and a self-directed account, and then connecting them through, basic technology, API, bank links, in which now people can transfer money between them pretty easy. So you get the world of the conventional custodian, in which you can have access to stock and bonds. You can have access to you and I as an investment advisors.
Yep.
And you can invest your money into that world. Oh, I found a property.
Right.
I want to move some money over to my self-directed side, and I want to buy this property. Ty, can you move $10,000 over there so I can get that? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll do that in 2 days, 3 days. I'll move that money over there.
Well, I mean, technically, depending on the current disposition, it could. Yeah, exactly. It could be. It really could. Versus, you call Fidelity, and they're going to liquidate the account. You're going to have to fill out some paperwork. The other company's going to take a week to receive it. Then once they receive it, they're going to sit on it for 5. You're literally talking especially after COVID. I mean, for the most part, some systems improved, but for the most part, timing within existing systems timing didn't get faster.
Yeah.
It got slower. So imagine this world where they really don't have any incentive to be fast at all. They have more incentive to be slow because they make more money from their deposits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, Ryan, the meat of this too is what it's always come back down to is we, and helping people understand this whole system, these two worlds, is they are both very good worlds in their own regards and in their own respect, right? What we've helped people do in a way that doesn't exist anywhere else is we've married the two, and essentially what we've done is we've built the right relationships, right? Because for a lot of years, I've worked with dozens of different self-directed custodians, dozens and dozens, and so I know the good and the bad of all of them. But we've really worked a system where we've got the right relationship on the self-directed side. Yeah. Right? And we've got the right system on the conventional side. And we've brought the two together to where they're like, yeah, we don't care what happens in between. And literally there are ways. So okay, in the self-directed world, if you average 10 transactions a year, you're paying over $1,500 a year on average. You're paying more than $1,500 a year. And that doesn't even include, like you said earlier, you're like, well, what if you want to call them for a consultation? Not for advice, but just a consultation on the logistics of the self-directed. Again, no advice. That's above and beyond that $1,500 I'm talking about, and more, and time, and all that garbage. So essentially we've said, look, we want to eliminate all that garbage, just put the pure tool in your hands. But more importantly, as advisors, we don't want to leave people to their own devices as far as, screwing something up. And so, yeah, we're here as advisor when people want it. If you don't, awesome. We'll help you. We'll help you move from A to B, and do it as fast as we can, like we're talking about. And depending on which account you build, you actually can do it without any fees. Literally, there's a way to do this. I will clarify though. If you have to wire monies, right, which tends to be the case sometimes with real estate or whatever, you're going to pay a wire fee. But you're not talking a $50 paper processing fee and a $100 asset purchase fee, and literally these are real things I'm talking about, people, and a check writing fee of $25, and there's one that's a custodial sign-off fee. I've seen that, and they literally charge $50 for them to sign off as your custodian. It's I get what they're doing. They're trying to protect people. They're trying to do things, and it's good, but it's not efficient in the least. And like you said, so imagine this. Imagine if you peeled off $150,000 of your retirement, bought a property, right? Now that property starts producing $1,000 a month, right? Most likely, and for you to then on a different platform, for you to transfer that, it's going to take weeks and weeks, and it's going to be very cumbersome. But imagine if you could automatically have that $1,000 a month peel out, assuming you don't. Now let's just assume on your property, you've got it reserves. We don't need to worry about any of that. We literally just have free cash flow of $1,000. What if that $1,000 a month was kicking back in automatically? Rent hits the 15th, on the 16th, your money kicks into your partnered, your married, conventional style account, and literally that next day it's invested. Right? again, best of both worlds.
So good story. I just met with a lady yesterday.
Yeah.
And in the last year, she had $15,000 in her self-directed custodial account that she had gathered just in rental income. And I told her about this, and she went, "Oh, so you mean that $15,000 the last year could have been invested, and I could have made 40% on it?" I was like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Had we talked last year, that money would now be worth $20,000+. So she's like, "Well, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard." I'm like, "Well, thank Ty Hansen."
Yeah, hey, I know.
Ty's not very good at compliments, as you can tell.
Here, but no, I don't do well with compliments. But again, the whole point here is as this has evolved from a state of, look, Ryan and I, we want to literally put the most sophisticated, cost-effective tool in people's hands. And we also don't want people to kind of be left to their own devices and screw things up, because that can happen. And as this has evolved, it's like, look, we've gone to all the middle people and said, look, take away your garbage fees. We'll take care of all the logistics for the clients. Just get rid of all your crappy fees. Just give us the pure, simple custodial platform that we want. And they're like, sure, we found that, right? We got it. And we're actually, just as a little bit of a teaser, we're in the process of building even more with that. That's for what's coming in like the next phase.
Be awesome.
Man, it's going to be really cool. I will geek out. But yes, we've married those two worlds in a way that, again, literally, it's like, think about that $400 million
just doing nothing
just last year. And I don't want to get into returns on this discussion. I want to get into this converse. But think again, depending on how much risk you wanted to take, past performance does not. This isn't. I'm not selling anybody on an idea here. What I just want people to understand is, that makes me sick thinking, even if it was 10% last year, heck, 5%, that's $20 million. $20 million. And they're pounding their chest like, we've got that sitting in cash. It's like, So again, yes. And not only that, like, let's make sure that we've got the right individuals in place so that when you have questions, because you want to buy real estate, but it's like when all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I've got a problem, or I need to put more money in, or I need to make repairs. I don't know the right way to do this. Or, hey, I'm getting paid. Do I just put that in my personal bank account? Like, no, we want to walk you through that and be, we want to be somebody to help you with. But anyways, we don't want part one to go too long. But yeah, like the Minotaur, the hybrid, the marriage of these two worlds. Because, again, on their own, they've got the value and they've got their role. But trying to put those two together on your own out in the real world, it is the biggest. I'm telling you, people, I have dealt with clients that have had such a gnarly experience that's not good. And then as what we've built to help these people is to A, make it extremely fast, B, in some cases reduce basically all the fees, and C, open up the entire. Think about this. What is this opening up for somebody?
The whole wild,
the entire universe, the whole world. It's the Wild West.
It's
but hey,
more than that.
Again, this is where I needed the hat.
Yeah, because what does that mean?
Badge and be like,
there's
a
new sheriff in town, and his name's Wyatt Earp.
New sheriff in town.
His name's Ryan Robertson. No, Ty's going to be the sheriff in this scenario.
And his Ryan Robertson and his girlfriend Betsy Roth.
I was so smart she created that.
I know. She knew what she was doing.
Well, okay, so this is going to end part one, everybody. Okay, so part two's coming up next. We're actually going to do that simultaneously and just break it up so that we know this will be part one, part two, and we'll do that so you can watch both of them. So, all right, Ty.
Yep. And remember, some more taxation. We're going to talk about a couple of cool keys of some of the there's some pretty powerful taxation.
Yeah, well, that's going to be next part. Part two coming up. Everybody stay tuned. Watch the next one. Ty, appreciate your time on part one. Great job, buddy.
Ryan, we always have fun. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Ty and Rye, the Finance Guys podcast today. If you like what you heard, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you won't miss any future episodes. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Ty and Rye Podcast. Also, check us out at myprosperteam.com. Thanks. We will see you next week.